curious, the vulture's behavior. Willing to kill the living and the dead. Survival of the fittest at its most primal. They act with reckless abandon without thinking of the consequences. They had to know, the more they killed other humans, the slimmer their chances became.
Don't think of them as humans. They're animals. Abandoned by any form of governing body, they dictated their own society. They were tribal, nomadic. In their eyes, man was as much a threat as the undead. The scavengers began realizing they weren't the only humans in the area. It was a matter of time before Gojulan knew we were here. The safe house was beyond the gardens, but the gardens belonged to the dead. They smelled us lurking above. The scavengers began in the area. It was a matter of time before Gojulan knew we were here. The safe house was beyond the gardens, but the gardens belonged to the dead. They smelled us lurking above. The scavengers began realizing they weren't the only humans in the area. It was a matter of time before Gojulan knew we were here. The safe house was beyond the gardens, but the gardens belonged to the dead. They smelled us lurking above. The scavengers began realizing they weren't the only humans in the area. It was a matter of time before Gojulan knew we were here. The safe house was beyond the gardens, but the gardens belonged to the dead. They smelled us lurking above. The scavengers began realizing they weren't the only humans in the area time before Gojulan knew we were here. The safe house was beyond the gardens, but the gardens belonged to the dead. They smelled us lurking above. The scavengers began realizing they weren't the only humans in the area. It was a matter of time before Gojulan knew we were here. The safe house was beyond the gardens, but the gardens belonged to the dead. They smelled us lurking above. The scavengers began realizing they weren't the only humans in the area. It was a matter of time before Gojulan knew we were here. The safe house was beyond the gardens, but the gardens belonged to the dead. They smelled us lurking above. Before Hendricks could take him out, the scavenger alerted Gojulan. She knew we were here. Reinforcements were moving on a checkpoint nearby, along with more dead.
Why did they create these displays? What was the purpose?
They weren't just displays. They were art. A way to show off their work, lure their enemies with the dead bodies of friends. Vultures are territorial. They fought among themselves, Sociopaths at war with everyone and everything. Undead or fellow human. Either way, you were a predator competing over the same resources. And now we'd become prey baited into a trap. A malfunctioning ASP heard the commotion and joined the party. I needed to find a rocket launcher. The vultures beat us there, set fire to the facility. Gojulan announced herself over a PA. She was inside, and she had a special guest waiting for us. We cleared the plaza. All that was left was to get inside. The blast knocked us back. We heard the building creaking. It could collapse at any moment. Hendricks thought we should stand down. It wasn't worth it.
You pushed back.
We needed that dossier. At this point, it was our only lead to Deimos. I told Hendricks to call in exfil. I'd take the safe house. Bishop had told us the document was hidden in a panic room within the facility.
Who was in the panic room?
Her. Kane. Our guardian angel. Someone had beaten the hell out of her. Gojulan. She was there for the same thing I was. The same thing our friend was. The dossier.
Do it. Kill her. Kill his host. Prove yourself worthy.
Did you kill him?
I struggled. Panicked. I acted in the heat of the moment.
And the file on Deimos?
Most likely it was reduced to Kindle. Gone. Or so we thought. Hendricks called in transport. Singapore was another dead end. But we needed a few answers from Kane. Starting with who the hell was she? And what was she doing in an abandoned CIA safe house? The truth proved more eye-opening than we could have imagined. After to see Kane again, let alone here. She wanted the same thing we did. The data drive on Deimos. Better yet, she knew where it was. It was moved from the safe house to a CIA black station in the quarantine zone.
Did she say why Gojulan was trying to kill her?
It wasn't Gojulan. Julan was a puppet of Deimos, and Deimos wanted Kane dead. Guess he didn't like her very much.
Did you trust her?
No, not yet. Our guard was up, but if she could get us to the black station, it was worth a shot. The Singapore quarantine zone. We never thought we'd be back here.
Bad memories?
You know damn well it certainly wasn't good ones, Doc. The place was a living, breathing reminder of the incident 5 years ago. We'd be in and out quick. We weren't staying any longer than we had to. Find out who this Deimos asshole was and get the hell out of Dodge. Kane said the data drive on Deimos was encrypted and separated into 2 pieces. We needed both to access the drive. Like a lock and key.
The lock, I assume, was at the black station. Where was the key?
The key. That was down by the docks. Undead Central. Heavy hostiles. We brought a DNI-equipped micro-missile launcher. Couldn't be too careful. That and Command had prepped a drone strike to wipe out most of the dock. But with the high winds from the incoming superstorm, well, no guarantees it'd work. We grabbed our spike anchors in case we needed to be nailed down. After the docks, our rendezvous with Kane was set for an abandoned police station. Hendricks took point.
More vultures.
Preying on the weak. Since the fall of the Immortals, they'd inherited all of Singapore. Turned the place into some twisted version of the Wild West. After the events at the safe house, we caught their attention. They weren't exactly thrilled with us on their turf, and were taking it out on the locals to find us.
Why didn't you step in? You could have saved them.
Calculated risks. We needed to stay quiet and lay low.
But there's always a chance, isn't there?
Chance is a billion-sided die. You like the odds of that? If they didn't die today, they'd die tomorrow. If not tomorrow, the day after. One way or another, death was coming for all of us. Nobody was getting out alive. If we tried to save them, it could be our necks in those collars. We weren't there to save 2 people. We were there to save all the rest of us. We needed to get to the Black Station, raising as little alarm as possible. The last thing we needed were the dead and vultures after events. Turns out the odds were already stacked against us.